everyone. Welcome to another episode of Questing Onward. I am Ashton.
And I'm Whitney.
Thanks for joining us on Questing Onward. Here we do deep dive into the art of communication, explore all things nerdy, and share snippets from our own life.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. We really look at that comment section and want to take topics that you guys would suggest. And we also love hearing what you guys do different. So make sure to comment on all those videos.
Yeah, communication's huge for us. So today what we wanted to talk about was the best advice that we ever got when we were getting married. And obviously we got a lot of good advice, so we wanted to talk about this in a couple different sections. But this is what I would say was probably for us ultimately, would you agree, the most important thing? Or I guess maybe not the most important thing, but one of the things that ultimately I think is shaped the way we live our life.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and kick off what it is?
Yeah. So we were trying to remember who gave us this advice, and I honestly don't know. I think it was our grandparents, my
You
grandparents.
think it was yours, right?
I think so.
You're right.
But it's 99% give, 1% take, and what that looks like. And Ashton, why don't you go ahead and start? What does that mean? 99% give, 1% take. What does that look like?
Yeah. For me, that was something that honestly has changed as I've thought about it over the years. When I first heard it, I didn't fully understand what it meant. I thought it was your job is to give everything to your spouse, your kids, and all of that. And ultimately what I have learned throughout the years that's not necessarily what it means to me, at least. I think it means ultimately 99% of you giving is essentially giving the best version of you. So at times that's going to look slightly different, right? So you have to be able to take care of yourself first. But the 1% take is are you actively looking to take from people, or are you trying to give as much as you can? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's what at least I think of when I hear of it. That's what it's ultimately come to me. What would you think, or what do you say about it?
For me, I think we heard a lot at the beginning that marriage is 50-50. And I think when you have this 99-1 idea, it's, all right, when Ashton's getting home from work, what can I do? I know he's had a long day. I know if I'm giving to him, that I know I'm going to receive in return because you're full. And then that way, because you're full, you'll be giving it back to me. But I would agree. There's definitely been times where I've been I'm a 20% give, 80% take. I'm I am tapped out. But it's something that's always, we bounce back to the 99-1 idea. Mm-hmm. So,
no, I don't mean to cut you off. I was just say, I think that's part of it. I think that's ultimately what it's saying is your mentality should be, what can I give constantly?
Mm-hmm.
It should be, how can I give? What can I do for my spouse?
Mm-hmm.
And at times that means you need a break. At times that means there's been times where, we would go in our marriage and I could highlight different parts of it where it was an extended period of time from both of us.
Yeah.
Where it was what I need right now is you to do a lot more than you normally do.
Yeah. Yeah. 110%.
But that's the cool thing about it is if you both, which we both do, is we have this idea of 99% give, that in those moments, it's that your spouse needs that.
Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately I've found that you do whatever it takes to give them what they need, because your mentality is, it's my job to give 99% of the time. Right. And so when those moments arise, when your spouse does what we found when we've needed that, it's never been well, I earned this, or I
deserve this.
I deserve this because I also did all of these things. It's never been that.
My job is harder. I think that's one of the big things too, is
yes,
no one's job is harder. And I think that's where a lot of marriages get stuck is, well, my job's harder. Well, I did more today. Well, you need to do more because I did this. Where instead it's I see that you've been working really hard. I've been working really hard too, and I'm exhausted too, but I want to go out of my way to make your life easier. Yeah. And when you're both giving that, both parties win.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a really, this is not even necessarily what we were wanting to talk about, but I'm going to ask the question because we hear this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
This idea of the job of a man or the job of a woman is so much more difficult, right? And so the question I have for you is, I'm going to go off script here a little bit, but what do you think about that concept? I'm really curious.
I think it's a trap, honestly. I think it puts you against each other. You're competing for who has it the hardest. And when you start competing for who has the title of hardest worker, hardest life, no one's going to be happy. It's a lose-lose situation. And then it's constantly, well, my life is harder because I did this. Oh, well, I mean, I did this actually. Well, I woke up at 4 a.m. with the kids. Oh, well, I had to knock doors for 12 hours. Well, the kids were throwing up all day. I had to scrub the carpets. I mean, it's just never ending. And when it's never ending, you're going to get stuck in that rut, and it's not fun for anyone.
I couldn't
Awful.
I couldn't agree more. And this is something like we hear a lot, like with friends and, you know, even sometimes family. It's this idea of like, oh, well, this title's hard or this title's hard. It's like, the thing that I've learned or what I believe with all my heart is, frankly, even if it is true, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't. Right.
It's both hard.
Yeah.
It's both crappy.
Yeah. And I think you put it really well, though. And that's like the most important thing and about that concept, that idea is that they are both hard. Even if one is harder than the other, it doesn't matter, because what actually matters, like the thing that actually matters, is where you're putting your energy, right? And if you're putting your energy to the concept of like, my job's harder, you're not giving the 99%. You're looking for take.
Oh, 100%.
Like your mentality is simply that. It's like, well, my job's harder, therefore I deserve X. And that's never going to lead you to a place of like ultimately unity, in my opinion, at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that like, yeah, it is a trap. You said it really well. It's an absolute trap. And I think the most important thing is focusing on that idea of it's a 99% give as much as you possibly can, and understanding that it's okay if you need time to take time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a big thing is neither of us are afraid to ask for more. I know I can go up to you and say, hey, I need like 5 or 6 hours just to go out shopping. I need to go for a drive. I just need time by myself. I'm overstimulated, overwhelmed. And you would give it to me.
100%.
100%. You would be there so fast. And vice versa. You know that you can come to me and say, hey, I need a half hour after work every day. And I'm like, okay, done. Or I need a 3-hour back scratch.
Yes.
Done.
Happened.
Which has happened.
Regularly.
I'm a great wife.
Yes, you are. But yeah, I think it's one of the things I've found is like in talking to different people and couples and just relationships in general, albeit in work or in relationships or just any capacity. That's like one of the things I've found more than anything is that just the focal point needs to be, how can I give more? Not like, why do I deserve these things? And I think that if more people did focus on like, how can I give more? How can I add more to people's life? How can I add value? I think ultimately that would lead to significantly better relationships. It would lead to significantly better, if you're looking at the workplace, teams. You'd have significantly better leadership. You'd have significantly better overall results. And I found this, like, that is one of the key things in our marriage that ultimately, in my opinion, has like shaped the way we do, truthfully, just about everything.
And why we're so happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like we understand what the other one needs. And if they need it, it's never something selfish. It's like they need that so that they can be at their 99% give. So I don't know. Do you have any other closing thoughts or anything on it?
Honestly, not really. I think that pretty much hit it. I would just say, just always focus on that 99 and 1, 99 give, 1% take. And don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to give.
Yeah.
It's not a competition.
Yeah. I think that's key. Don't be afraid to give ever. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. Like, I think oftentimes this is, especially in today's world, this is a topic that's a little bit taboo. Yeah, it's like, no, it's very much entitled. Like this idea of entitlement, like I deserve these things because I've done X, Y, Z. Instead of just looking as inwardly as possible to ultimately serve one another. And I think that's what marriage and life should all be about, is how can I give back? So anyways, we would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you have any conflicting thoughts, which is totally fine, we'd love to hear them. Or if you share same sentiments, or if it's helped you in any way, we'd love to hear it. So we appreciate your time. And then, like I said, tune in next week. We'll have another topic we're going to talk about, probably some more marriage advice, or like at least things that's helped us that we received before marriage.
Yep.
So appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All right.